Good morning, Ted.
I'm happy to introduce our guest speaker this morning, Sister Pham. Sister Pearl has been with us many times now, has spoken here before, and is a great friend of the Sangha. And Pearl is a Vietnamese-American Zen Buddhist nun. She worked for almost 10 years as a physician's assistant at Mayo Clinic in Rochester. She was then ordained. She has been living, I know, for some time in Vietnam as a monastic, and I think recently returned to this country. And the really exciting news is that she will be in residency here at MZMC during the first part of November, so we'll be seeing a lot more of her, which will be really fun. So welcome back, Sister Pearl. I'm excited to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ted. That was really nice, warm welcoming. And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Can we take that deep breath? There we go. Isn't that feel so good? Just to let out everything that obstructing or remaining uncomfortable inside, just relaxed and being here. Just be total presence in your seat, your crown. And just being with each other, the community. Can you hear me okay? Great. I love this microphone. Sounds really nice. Yeah, I just been back from Vietnam for almost a year, living in a monastery of 180 nuns together. And normally, in present, we have 150 nuns always there, and then 30 nuns being assigned to other smaller monasteries for assignment, helping to serve at smaller monastery in various places like in the countryside or smaller town. So I'm among 150 nuns. And even though my age, I consider myself almost middle-aged. My age is old, but my year of ordination practice, I was ordained more than 6 years ago. So I'm still young. I'm only 6 years old, 6.5 years old in the Dharma of ordination. Though I've been practicing meditation Zen since I was in college. So we just count since when you ordained, that's how old you are in the spiritual family. And I'm one of the youngest nuns in my monastery there. There are nuns who've been ordained since they were 15, 16, but truly become a fully bhikkhuni trained nuns when they are 20, 21. And to me, they are my big sisters. So I have to listen to everyone. And that was a really humble experience for me, very humble. Being a physician assistant and taking care of patients and guiding patients in palliative care through life and death, listening to people suffering, family suffering, being a peacemaker, like resolution, kind of helping mending the family or leading a family care conference with the doctors and find the best management option for patient to lessen the suffering and bring peace and comfort at the end of life. And so being a leader myself in those times and now just become a little child with not knowing, innocent eyes and heart and mind and beginner minds. Trying to let go of all of my thoughts and knowledge and experience and just be there to learn as much as possible for 10 months. And so all the little things I do, like just my posture, my talking, my wording in Vietnamese sometimes is not as good as in English because I'm only there for my 13 years, the first 13 years of my life. So I get corrected a lot. Even tiny stuff, I get corrected. How I, address, calling, talking to people. And that was a humbling experience. I just learned how to say, yes, thank you. I will try my best. Those are just saying that and have the mind of learning, the humility, the humbleness, and the appreciation that people willing to teach you and share with you what they think will be best for you and for the community overall. And so my first few months there was very tough for me. The weather was hot. I get sweat like all the time. There's no air conditioner. In this one big room, we can live about like a residential, one big room like this. There's no wall, no rooms, but one huge room, and including there, and there'll be about 30 of us living and sleeping together years after years. You imagine that. So it's like, okay, this is kind of, my bed is like a wooden box, like this size, and it's tall like this, and it's about my height. So that's all my space, and all my property put in there. And about this space is another wooden box bed of another nun. And so I have this little space in between to sit and to study and to lay down on the ground to take a nap in the afternoon. And it's hard floor. You sleep on hard floor with a very thin grass mattress. Just grass. No puffy, soft mattress. And we lay on the right side like the Buddha when he reached nirvana. And kind of practice training our body. And so it was hard for me to fall asleep, to sleep like that. But achy shoulders, hips, and no cover space, no privacy. So there's just a mosquito net, right? And some nuns, very smart, they put a thin fabric to cover so that they have some privacy inside. No one see how they lay, But for me, I didn't prepare, so I did not have any fabric to cover my mosquito net. So it's transparency issue. And I'm always mindful of how I laid. My posture, but it's dark, so it's helpful that way. And so my first few months were, my heightened sense of awareness was a lot. Because I have to be aware of all my actions, all my thoughts, all my speech, everything. Because everything gets absorbed by others around me. There's no escape. And the bell rang at 2:45 morning, the big bell. Bang, bang. It's soft, it starts out very soft and nice. Da, 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 bang, bang, bang. Louder and louder and louder. And really fast, waking up everyone. And so when you hear the bell ring, you get up right away. There is no laying around. And you get up and you take down your mosquito nets, you fold your blankets like in military. Very nice and neat. And you put away everything in your box. But there's an opening on top. And you get ready, personal hygiene, get ready for meditation. So meditation starts at 3:30 in the morning. And you have to be there about 3:15 in the cushion. Not in the cushion yet because we chant and we pay respect to the three treasures first before we sit down. So you have to be there standing up and ready for the little ceremony at 3:15. And bathroom was a problem too. So sometimes I have to, I don't get used to the way there. So I have to get up a little bit early with my alarm, my own alarm. My phone, and no phone is used, but I have to kind of, it's not like 100% prohibition of using phone, but you have to be very mindful of using your phone and not let people see out there. And not interrupt with your practice. So I put my alarm in my phone next to my bed just to help me wake up. And then you need to exercise a little bit and maybe drink some tea, some coffee to be awake. And meditation 3:30 to 5:30, 2 hours straight. And there's no break like this in the middle. But we have it's like no community break, but we individual still can take a break, stand up, take a walk, go to restroom if we need to, but everything need to be very mindful, very gentle and lightly so it's not affecting other people around us. But the teacher always try to say, sit all the time, sit the whole 2 hours, don't break, and sit still. And that is like a thing that we strive to be, but if our body needs rest, then we are allowed to get some break. Then, after that, we do a little, after we finish meditation, we do a little massage, body massage, from head to toe for about 10 minutes. I think we had the Vietnamese and community have an integration retreat here with the Minnesota Zen Center, where we share that massage from head to toe, face, to get the blood flowing, because 2 hours of sitting still is a lot. And then we did a little service chanting, then we end our morning meditation. Then community exercise for about 15 minutes, and then breakfast time. And breakfast is also a form of breakfast, silence and, offering the meal to the three treasures before we eat. And after breakfast, then we get to work right away. So working practice from 7:15 to 10 o'clock. That's working practice. And each of us is 150 nuns, so there's a work coordinator, and there's a big board. And she assigned like different departments, sewing department, restroom cleaning department, temple, hall department, different gardens department. So that would be like Zen garden, which is huge and big. There would be flowers garden. There would be vegetable garden. There would be orchid garden. So different kinds of gardens. And then there's also the department of kitchen. Kitchen is a very tough department. 6 people cook for 150 people. And so every 2 weeks, we are rotated to the kitchen, the people who still have the energy to work. The senior nuns, they get to retire. They can do, light job, very light job, like sweeping slightly or doing weeding. But the younger nuns, middle-aged down, then we have to rotate into the kitchen every 2 weeks. And we go early morning from 3 o'clock until 6 p.m. 4 hours of 1 hour, maybe 45 minutes rest in the afternoon for a nap. But from 3 a.m. to 6 p.m., we work all the time that day, that full day. And then the day before that, starting at noon after our lunch until 6 p.m., we prepare prepping for the food day, the next day of cooking. So it's a day and a half of kitchen. And we run. It's not like Zen is not like, like gentle and mindfulness walking and, it's, we work our, we work so much. It's big pots of washing vegetables, pots, and it's huge pot of cooking on the stove. Because 150 mouths to eat. And we cook with wood, not with fire. So everything, not with electricity or gas, with wood. And we have a house, a big storage of wood that we take and cook with wood. And so I learned how to start the wood, the fire, and everything. And I learned not to burn myself, and I learned all of that. And we prepare a big pot of hot water, like boiling hot water every morning, to pour into what you call a hot water insulator, like that. Yeah, Thomas. Yes. So one of my job at beginning was to learn how to do that without getting any accident. And I pour about maybe 50 Thomas because each dorm have like 4 or 5 Thomas, and we have multiple dorms. And we also have solitary retreat houses for people that also Thomas. So that's the easiest job for me to learn at first, and then learn how to, wash the vegetables, how to cut the vegetables. But learning to cook is advanced, so I'm just helping, not yet letting men cook yet. But everything was coordinated so well, just people knowing what to do. There's no plan, there's no organization charged. There's no no one directing you exactly what to do, like American way, right? So I get to Sister American way, just show up and please tell me what to do. What are my tasks? And no one tell me what to do. So I have to ask this person, I have to ask that person. And they're like, don't you know this? I'm like, no, I'm not a person here. So that was like my challenge too, as people thought that they expect that I would know all of these, but I don't, because I'm from different cultures and different way of life and different thinking. And the timing is also different, because time there is like flow, it's smooth, so it's not like tell me you'll be here at 6:30 and we start to work at 6:30. That's what my thought. I show up at 6:30 to start working. No, they show up 10-15 minutes earlier. And if I show up later than other people, I'm considered being late. Yeah, so all of that was very interesting for me. And at first I was resist. I was like, why making this difficult? Why don't we just agree on 7:15 or 6:30 and we will see there? Don't expect me to show up 15-20 minutes early. And when I asked them, like when we take an afternoon nap and the whole cooking team say, okay, let's be here to work together early. And I say, how early? Is that like 12:30 or 1 o'clock? I say, just get here whenever you wake up. That's the common saying. I'm like, what do you mean? I can wake up at 2 p.m. And so, please tell me the exact time I show up. And they have a hard time telling me the exact time. I say, okay, maybe you can tell me the range, and I try to be there early. So that was always like my friction, like, okay, just tell me. And then when I work in the temple, cleaning the temple, the main Buddha hall, I did, like, there's no like procedure of what to proceed with things, because people expect you to know, since people are there for a long time and trained, and I'm just stepping in, and they don't know what I already know. So I keep asking people what to do, and I observe people very carefully, but still I I don't want to make mistakes. So I keep asking, and people get annoyed at me. And then sometimes I stop asking. I just do what I feel right. And so, like sweeping the temple, and they have a way of sweeping from the altar out or from the center out. And sometimes I feel that, oh, there's a lot of dust here, and I will sweep here first to avoid, and then I will come to that area. So I have, my own mind organizing what to do is best. But then the people who work with me, like, no, you have to do a different way. And then I just to hold, like do mindfully, hold one, one broom and sweeps, and, mindfully. And then I'm like, you will never get it done if you sweep this way. You have to be quick and fast and precise, but still try to be mindful, right? So much expectation, right? And you do have two hands holding the brooms. And so, two hands like that, because then you get more area space, and it's more better because one broom go first and the other broom follow, so the dust, And I was like, I don't get used to working that many hours and that physical labors. So my body is tired. My hands are all like hardened and achy, and it's get tingling, numbing in my hands because working so hard without training before. And so I couldn't hold the two brooms, and I only hold the one broom. And then the person who worked with me is like, why don't you sweep with two brooms? You're supposed to sweep with two brooms. I think I remember at that time, I was really, inside of me, I was irritated and frustrated because I had the whole days of working hard, and I did not get any training to work in the temple cleaning. And they only put me there because they were short of people. That day it was the Lunar New Year, so a lot of guests coming, a lot of work to get done. So short of people, and they just put me there because I'm available. And they expect me to do the work. And perhaps I thought maybe because I'm a type of person who are flexible and willing to do whatever asked for, so that's why I was put there too. So I keep thinking that way, okay, I try my best to do whatever asked for. And when I met that head on, like my body was so tired and exhausted, and I'm trying my best, and I get corrected every movement I got. I get corrected 3 or 4 times. And the person worked with me, she was stressed because she also get put to work there more days than she should because it's a Lunar New Year. And the head of that department was off that day, so she had more responsibility, which I did not know. I just came in, I did not know who she was or what her position is, and I did not know why she got irritated and corrected me, and so I get reaction. I get irritated inside of myself. And irritation is a lighter form of anger, right? As you know, it's like aversion, not something, not when something not go with what you like or what you want, then you get aversion, irritation, frustration. And if that start to build up, then you get anger. And I thought, all my life I'm done very well. I don't have anger easily. I don't get anger or drive up easily. I'm normally calm and joyful and pleasant. But in that moment when a lot of pressure was put and my body was tired, then I get irritated. And when I was whipping, and there was one time I need to drop my broom to pick up something. But I noticed I dropped my broom a little bit violently, that I never done in my life. Like I should drop it instead of gently put it down. I should drop it, and I heard a bang on the floor, and that's awakening me. That like, wow, I'm reacting right now. I let my energy of irritation and frustration spew out in that little action of dropping my broom without mindfulness, without gentleness. And it shook me, and I questioned my mind. I'm like, all these years of meditation, of practicing, of cultivating my mind, of practice peace is every step, practice peace in the mind. This is not peaceful. This is not peace at all. What's happening? Why am I reacting so strongly? What is in my mind? And then I notice, oh, I'm irritating. Like the person who worked with me, she's also irritating. And I'm start to have some tears in my mind. I start tearing a little bit. I swallow my tears. And I'm like, we are the same. We are the same. She put that irritation on me, correcting me, and she's not pleasant with me. And I put that irritation in the room. What if I have another little girl who worked with me? What would I do to her, right? That's dangerous. And that's just that moment. What if I don't have a way of letting out? If I don't recognize this right away and I let that build up inside me, then what would happen? I could burn down a house. I could cause harm if I'm not careful. So I still have those seeds in me. And the Buddha was correct. He said that every one of us have all kind of seeds in our mind. Seeds, we have the 3 poison seeds or poison snakes, the main big 3 poison seeds. That seed is greed, anger, and delusion. Greed can come from attachment, can come from wanting for me, mine, I, my. Is wanting for ourselves. That's greed. Something that like us, favorable to us, we want to grasp, we attach. People who are nice to us, do good things to us, we feel a sense of connection toward that person. People who don't like us, like that person who I work with, then I want to push away, right? So greed, and then anger, aversion, like pushing away when we don't want the way that we want. And then delusion. And delusion is a cloudy mind. It's when we don't see things clearly as they are. It's when we don't understand the situation. Like me, at first I did not know that she have a hard time. She was stressed out because of her situation. And I blame on her and I put that anger on the broom. I did not know, I did not see that. But after that awakening sound of the broom clashing on the floor, then I realized I got calming down. I stood still. I took a deep breath. And I see my irritation reflecting on her irritation. And then I have a sense, the softness in my heart. And I have a sense of connection to her, of understanding. And then I feel compassion for myself and for my Dharma sister who worked with me. I felt a sense of connection. And later on that day, I let go of, my irritation. I kind of hold my own baby inside. I'm like, okay, I know this is hard, but it's too short past. I will get over this. I just need some rest later this afternoon. And when I sat with her in the afternoon, when it was calmed down, visitors were off a little bit. The afternoon was when people take a nap, and we just watch the temple, so we just present and sit there. And she was very tired, my Dharma sister, and she said she needs to take a nap. And she said her arms were hurting. And so I'm like, let me massage your hands a little bit. And so I connect with her that way and, feel a sense of camaraderie, of sharing this together. And after that, all whatever thoughts about her vanish. And we just share that presence together, taking care of the temple and being there for each other. And so that was my little examples, my little learning lesson, awakening moments of work practice is where you actually learn. You actually see how your practice is when you meet face on with desire or aversions or attachment or whatever that in your mind. And a lot of my time there, a lot of my job was cleaning, sweeping, and gardening. And so I put in different garden, and more than 50% of my gardening is about weeding. And I love to weed. It's so relaxing, right? Who here love to weed, love to garden? And who here love to grow plants and vegetables and flowers? And who here love to be in the garden itself, just to be in nature? Yeah, almost all of us, right? So I love it when I kind of outside in the garden. It's when I really be able to see myself. And the work of gardening taught me so many lessons. Just recently, I returned to our Zen center here in Egan, and weed everywhere, because the nuns, the older nuns who stay there taking care of the garden, she got sick, and she not able to tend to the garden. And I came back home, and I'm like, so much work to do, so many weeds, and grow tall, grasses grow tall, and the fall is here, and so things get kind of more dry and not vibrant, not lively. So I'm like, lots of work for me to do. I'm glad I was trained in Vietnam for 10 months to come back home and work more. But there's a very interesting story about gardening and weeding that I would like to share with you in our Zen practice. I had a chance to had 1 month solitary retreat in Vietnam right after I got ordained more than 6 years ago. So 1 full month of solitary retreat where you just in your own little cell and you don't interact or talk to other people. And you sit meditate for about 7, 8, 9 hours a day, depending on how much you can meditate. But it's break down into 1 or 2 hours block. And you study sutra and mindful, do ceremony, and just being mindful and silence. And when I did that, on the schedule of our solitary retreat, we have 1 to 1.5 hour working in the garden. And so my sole time working in the garden, work practice, is weeding. And at that time, I realized there's different kind of grass. There's grass, there's weed the weed in between the grass, right? And in between the flowers and the vegetables and the good plants. And so there are weeds that are shallow root system. You just kind of easily pull them out. There's very elegant, nice little weeds, and there's big, thick weed and have deep root system. And there's also certain kind of hardy hardhead weed that deep and spread out and intertwine with other roots. And so I found, wow, that's interesting observing the weeds. Those weeds, the dandelion, right? Very deep, and you have to pluck the root up, otherwise it will sprout up again. And I remember when I was little coming to America, I first know about the dandelions, because in Vietnam, in my place, we did not have dandelions. So it was beautiful, the yellow flowers, and then you blow the thing, wish, what I love and whatever they wish. And so when I was little, I'm like, oh, beautiful dandelions. I'm going to blow all these seeds to make the whole yard yellow and beautiful. I did not know. But now, grown up as an adult, then I'm like, no, these are bad weed. Get rid of them. So you see how your mind changed? We classify good weed and bad weed. We classify certain vegetables and plants that are good or bad for us, favorable or unfavorable. And so in my garden here at the Zen Center, the older nun considers some of the plants that I grow, some of the flowers. Oh, these are bad flowers. They look bad when they fall. So get rid of them. And I, no, they're beautiful. Let's keep them. And so we have this kind of, judging what is bad and what is good, what to keep and what not to keep. And that is a constant flux of the mind, and it's very normal for our being, right? We judging all the time. We judging everything around us, and we analyzing things, and we judge based on what is our desire, what is our favorable or unfavorable. I tend to like the word favorable or unfavorable than good or bad. Because favorable is what worked for me, that's in my favor condition that I can bring to life, and unfavorable it may not work. But good or bad, how can we say one is good and the other is bad, right? The dandelions is actually a good tea, a very nice, a healthy tea, diuretic, right? And I actually harvest dandelion in my yard with the root, and I wash it very carefully. I dry it, I roast it, and beautiful fragrant tea. If you come, I can serve you the tea. I forgot to bring it today. But I brought some marigold that we grow in our garden. And think about it. When we grow our garden, we tend to it, right? The garden is our mind. You think Buddha has always taught, many of the sutra Buddha said the land, the earth, the garden is like our mind. We have seeds of virtues. We also have seeds of negative karma, negativities in there. And we have to accept that we have these seeds. And how do we tend and take care of the good seeds and let not the bad seed, the negative seeds grow more? And so, like in gardening, when we grow good seeds or favorable seeds, virtues, we have to take good care. Water, we have to know the weather, we have to know how to protect the tree, the plants. We have to put fertilizer, we have to pruning and take care of the insects. We have to do that. The same thing is our mind. And around the vegetables or flowers or fruits, we weed away those that can harm the virtues, can harm the goodness. So when we do that, steadfast. Because when we do it and then after some rain, wheat will grow again. And we have to continue weeding, continuous weeding, steadfast, continuous practice, like Dogen say. Dogen in his teaching, continued practice. Like after we eat the meal, we have to wash our dishes, right? So the same thing is weeding. We don't get angry or distressed or frustrated when the weed come back. We just keep working at it. Same thing is in our mind, in our meditative state, or in our daily life. We don't get distressed or self-degrading or self-judging when our negative habits or thoughts are rising. So when we sit, thoughts come, right? Many thoughts come, and there may be jealousy, there may be frustration, there may be judging, there may be bad thoughts coming. That's not pleasant. And we want to push away, we want to suppress them, but that's not the way of our practice. That's not helpful. We just recognize, like, hello, old friends. I see you again, right? Hello, old wheat, I see you again, right? And we just kind of uprooting them. When we see them, we recognize, we intimate with them, we uproot them. And they just, when we watch, we see them, we don't do anything, just let them be, and they will go away. We don't need to do anything. Don't push away, don't suppress, don't attach, don't make more stories out of our thoughts. And if you practice like that, you will know, some of you nod your head, maybe you already taste that flavors in your practice, meditation, that when you just let them be. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, negativities, all of those, they come in our mind like cloud passing by, or like images in the mirror. And we don't attach, we don't do anything. We just recognize, oh, they are there. Don't need to give it a name, just, oh, it is there. It's okay to give it a name. Oh, that's anger, that's jealousy, but stop. Don't do anything more. Just stop and being. And knowing that you are the knower. You are the awareness, just pure, mere awareness. And that's really joyful, just to know that you are there in presence, full presence, shining the light on these thoughts, emotion, feelings, all of that. And they just dissipated on their own. Sometimes they come back again. So when I do reading all the time, every day, for 1 month, then when I sit meditate, the image of the weed come out. It just pop out. Like, go away, no. Same like that. In our life, we are not just this lifetime. We probably many past lives. So like one day of our being is like one past life, for example. So yesterday is our past life, right? We slept, like another life, a new beginning. So like that, the timing span of our life here is we have many lives. So whatever we did in previous life is imprinted in our consciousness, store consciousness. It's like a storehouse. And it's there, but we don't know. And when certain conditions, favorable conditions come, then those things come out and kind of uprising in our mind, emerging in our mind. And we don't question. We don't say, why so? We just let it be, and it will go. But if we attach to it, we do anything to it, then that's karmic bond, that we're creating something more and more. And that's not purifying our mind. I'm watching the time because I know we have until 10:50? Yeah. 10:50, okay. Wow, that's fast. I feel I have so many things to share. But let me stop sharing from my own mind. But I would like to share with you a very nice story, Zen story about tending to the soul from the garden. Is that all right? I can finish my talk like this, maybe a little bit longer, 5 minutes? Okay. It was an early spring. A young monk approached an old gardener who was tending to the temple garden, carefully raking the patterns of fine gravel around the stones. He asked, "Wise teacher, I have been pondering about the nature of the soul. How does one nurture the soil of the spirit?" The old man continues raking like tending to the garden. One must cultivate patience and care. So he say, like tending to the garden, one must cultivate practice and care. The young monk say, but what if wild weeds that strangle the blossoms? Sorry, my eyeglasses are a little bit blurry. Just a second here. The old man, the monk say, but what if wild weeds that strangle the blossoms? How does one overcome what choke the soul? That's a beautiful question. How does one overcome what chokes the soul? So think of yourself as a beautiful flower, a beautiful soul, a flower, a very nice vegetable that offer to the world, fruits, but you have weeds that choke you. How do you overcome that? The old man paused and looked up. He answered, by understanding that the weeds too are parts of the garden, with insight into their nature, they may reveal their gifts. The young monk raised his brows. I do not grasp the meaning. The gardener leans on the rake. Come, sit with me a while. Together we will pull the weeds, spreading no seeds. Then you will understand. So the young monk obliged and kneels between the stones. The two monks worked in silence for a time, carefully removing the small green shoots creeping between the stones and discard them in a pile. As he worked, he studied each weed closely, the fuzzy stems, the delicate roots, the tender leaves unfurling. He noticed how the weeds and the moss grow indiscriminately between the rocks, softening the hard edges. The added textures and variation to the garden canvas. The young monk spoke. Teacher, I think I understand. The weeds are neither good nor bad. They simply exist. By seeing them as part of the whole, even what seemed to choke contain wisdom. The gardener nodded. He said, like the weeds, our impulses arise unbidden from the soil of the mind. By observing them with compassion, we need not be ruled by them. But tell me, asked the monk, what if we let all the weeds grow freely? Would they not swallow the garden? But totally inaction may invite different weeds. The middle path that the Buddha teach requires discernment to nurture what wholesome and what is not. The monk bowed his shaven head. Your insight has nourished my soul. I will contemplate the balance you have suggested. They continued working as the sun traveled across the sky. The young monk became aware of the ache in his knees and the stiffness in his back. He noticed how his mind started to wander, no longer focused on the task. As he worked slower, the gardener, which is the teacher, started to speak again. Do not cling too tightly to insights. Hold ideas like gentle pebbles, not crushing them into dust. Do not cling too tightly to insights. Hold ideas like gentle pebbles, not crushing them into dust. The young monk pondered this, relaxing his grip on notions swirling in his mind. He felt the crisp air, smelled the fresh earth, listening to the birds chirping in the maple trees. When the last of the weeds were clear, the gardener stood up with some effort, joints cracking. He surveyed the garden, now neatly calm and peaceful. He said to the young monk, come, let us have tea by the pond. He said, the soul's garden requires regular rest, just as the body does. The monk followed the gardener across the tranquil grounds. He felt a deep sense of clarity, as if the act of gardening has tilted and turned over the soil of his own mind. Insight bud like the first cherry blossom of early spring. As they sipped steaming tea, the gardener spoke once more. Do not become attached even to insights. Hold them lightly. Nurture the soil. Give space for growth. This is the art of gardening. The young monk nodded slowly. I understand. True wisdom is not static. It flows like water. Gently penetrate the cracks. Indeed, the gardener say, and remember, all gardens have cycles. What wither makes way for rebirth. Be patient. They finished their tea in silence as the last rays of sun faded over the pines. When the stars emerged, the monk bowed deeply to the gardener. I am grateful for your lessons. My soul has been nourished. The old man chuckled. I have only reminded you of what you already know. Look within you, and you will find the gardener. The monk returned to his room, his heart filled with tranquility and gracefulness. While sweeping the floor in his room, he noticed the tiny weed pushing through a crack. Lovingly, he let it grow. And so, for me, this whole thing about gardening is a continuous project for me at the Zen Center until the winter. And it's a continued work for our whole lifetime of my mind gardening, my mind reading, my mind growing. From that, experience that I shared you earlier about my irritation with the broom, I learned so much from it. With other experience, why I was staying there, and I keep watching my mind, and in my meditation too. Sometimes sitting 2 hours, achy back and knees, and there was times a sensory like tingling, kind of very uncomfortable feeling, like prickling, tingling on my face, a mosquito or whatever, insects. And we were told just to let it be and not scratch, like just to be full present with your sensation feeling. And I had to just watch my mind to let it be. And not to get irritated, distressed when whatever come into mind, not to be distressed with the weed and see them as old friends. And I learned that lesson with so much joy. Coming back here, seeing weeds, remind me of that. I was just weeding yesterday, until like dark, to come inside. I'm like, oh, tomorrow talk. What should I prepare? I had some thoughts ahead of time, but I'm like, what should I talk more? Weeding? Yeah, so that's what I would like to share with you, just from a companion, a spiritual friends with all of you here today. And I'm so glad to be back, see familiar faces and a few new friends. And I look forward to my residency here at the beginning of November, to learn more about myself and to learn more about being in a community with you all. Thank you. May the virtues and merits of our practice be shared with all others and benefit others. May we and others be free and rich enlightenment. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.
What time is it?
10:57.
We should go ahead with announcements.